Coming up this week, it's a social media special. This is episode 15 of the Carbon Copy Curer podcast. This week we've got social media, obviously, a lockdown, Neil Lennon, Celtic versus St Mirren continuously lay out the full podcast because the game is happening right now. Social media platforms, the social dilemma, human shites, Instagram, Twitter, boomers, generation, the future of social media, group chats, Facebook versus Twitter, and screenshots, Banco, and of course banging our saying at the end as well. So let's go.
Welcome to episode 15 of the Carbon Copy COVID Curer podcast. There will be bad language. We're on Spotify and Apple. We're a wedding band from central Scotland on lockdown at the moment, so we're doing this podcast amongst other things. My name is Martin, also known as Merv, and I play guitar in the band. I'm joined by our lead singer, David Swan, also known as Swanee.
Hello.
We've got our bass player, Spanko, aka Mark Caulfield.
Hello there.
And we've got our drummer, Neil McDougall, Shugs McDougall.
Good evening.
As we record this, the date is the 16th, it's Wednesday the 16th of September 2020. We're 4 months approximately into the pandemic caused by COVID-19.
4 months?
I think it's no
Is it longer than that?
It's 6 months.
Actually, we're 4 months.
Do that to me.
We're 4 months since our first COVID Cure podcast.
Yeah. See.
So, how is everybody managing with that 4 months in? Or 6 months into the pandemic? How can you describe to the future listeners, or the current listeners, what that's like?
I've had to get a job. That's what today. That's to follow running it and all that. There's no sign of it anymore, so I got off my arse and I'm working in a pub.
Is that one, right?
It's hard work. It's a busy pub as well, so. But it's good to enjoy it.
Is Neil Lennon's local in it?
It is, yes.
Are you allowed to say that?
Can I? There's nobody that listens to this anyway, but it's a pub on Byers Road. Neil Lennon frequents a lot. You can say that.
A lot? So you're saying the Celtic manager's got a drink problem?
No, not at all. He was in there recently and he was just drinking a Coca-Cola. A Diet Coke, actually.
It's a fucking diet one he's needing.
He's got a weight
He's
issue.
massive, man. He's a big lad. He's much taller than I thought, much broader than I thought.
Well,
which is stupid because he was a professional football player.
He's no taller than you thought. He's 5'9".
Is he?
Aye, but he's I thought he was 5'11" when I last spoke to you, but he's 5'9".
Is he? He looks bigger than that.
But see if you Google the now a photo, well, even just Google Neil Lennon and you look at him in February, 1 month before lockdown, he was right in shape. He was training with the players and all that. He was right in shape, and it looks as if he's just went right downhill. That worries me a bit.
He looks quite heavy, aye. He does look quite heavy.
That suggests, well, I've got a fucking cheek, man, but that suggests that his head's maybe not in the right place, you know, so I'm worried a wee bit about that. And we're kicking off in 29 minutes.
I saw Celtic are playing St Mirren tonight, is that right?
Aye, St Mirren.
So we'll have live updates as and when any goals are scored, any action on the field.
Aye, pass it over to Hugh Keevins, Spanko.
We're going to try and do a loose theme of internet / social media this week. So we'll ask some questions. We usually ask it to our guests. We don't have a guest this week, so I'll just ask this to Neil, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question is, what's the first social media platform you got into?
I missed Bebo, and I think it was MySpace. That was my first one.
Was Bebo before MySpace?
I think it might have come out at the same time.
Roughly the same
I
time.
don't know.
I was a mad Bebo.
Bebo.
Aye.
That didn't last very long. I mean, did that last as long as
I can't remember,
MySpace?
to be honest. It was only... I think MySpace was bigger. But
especially for band stuff, for sure.
I think Bebo as well. I can't really remember much about it. I can remember it being clunky. You couldn't really work out how to work it. I can remember that.
It was
And
blue.
I can remember my page being black, like a dark theme. Don't know how I done that.
People was
red.
black.
Aye.
Was it?
Aye. Black and red was the colours. Like Facebook is blue and white. Yeah.
I'd have lost that in a quiz question then if that was. I don't know.
People
I thought it
black
was
and
red.
red.
I remember one of the first ones, but it's not really a social media place, but that MSM, the chat.
Aye.
Yes.
I never used that either, but I remember you hear people talking about it as the sort of precursor to the modern stuff. But am I
Is
right
that
in
still
saying
in the go?
Probably a lot of
MSN
these
chat?
things are.
Aye.
I think
Probably.
MySpace is still in the go. Actually, I wonder if we could look up everybody's old MySpace.
Did Carbon Copy have a MySpace?
No.
Nah.
The carbon copy weren't invented at that point, Neil. But I'm wondering if we've got.
We were called the Chebs then.
It's shut down now. It was MSN Messenger, later rebranded as Windows Live Messenger. I remember that. Was a cross-platform instant messaging client developed by Microsoft. So it's now defunct, I think.
MySpace. I remember MySpace for the bands and stuff, but I never had Bebo. And I always felt as if people were trying to make you feel as if you were missing something, which part of me thought I was, but I felt quite comfortable not getting involved in it. But I've got no idea what Bebo was like. Is it the same as Facebook?
Aye.
As in it's got a news feed and that sort of stuff?
Pretty much. I can't really remember.
I think it was before the news feedy kind of thing. Maybe. I'm not sure because the wall and that was invented by Facebook, I think. So
Aye.
I can't really. I remember having my own page.
Aye.
That was it. Did I have messaging between people? I take it did.
I think so. I can't remember its distinguishing qualities.
Nah.
I just remember it as being like a shite Facebook.
Yeah.
I deleted my Facebook app. I've deleted all my social media apps. I've kept the accounts, but I've just deleted all the apps. I just log in once a day. Aye, fuck that, man.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever worked in sync together ever on any phone, on any platform. They just seem to be as if like they've got two different departments. They've got the app center that works with everything, and then they've got everything else. It's useless, I think.
What's that, Neil? Do you mean like the Facebook connecting on your phone to
yeah. So like if you have an app, sometimes you can't
desktop?
open up on one thing, you have to open up the other. And I was like, well, why does you have to open up that in the app when I'm on a computer? Or why it's a waste of time.
There's definitely a lot of
That's how they first started
bugs.
getting into all your stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Bastards.
I can't see this one being a very positive outcome for the social media.
No, definitely not. It's a fucking cesspit of humanity.
Neil hasn't watched it because I asked him before you guys came on, but Social Dilemma, fucking hell, man. Everybody go watch that now because something needs to be done. Like,
aye, it's pretty eye-opening. Well, it's everything you know, isn't it?
it's everything you know, but it's like fully confirmed by the guys that actually did it. Aye.
Do you know why it feels more confirmed, I think, through that? Because it's the guys that encrypted it and coded it and made it that are actually talking it down.
Do you want to quickly describe what the programme is and what it's saying for the listeners, in case I've not seen it?
Aye, well, it's just it's a kind of docu film, which is largely documentary, a wee bit of they kind of play a wee kind of everyday kind of story as well, which is acted, and they kind of show you how social media works through that story, and it's real guys that used to work at Google and Facebook and Twitter as well. Just the guys that started the algorithms, but it's kind of AI based, isn't it? And that AI, his end goal is just to make as much money as possible for Facebook. So, and it'll do it. It doesn't have any sense of humanity, and it'll just do what fucking it wants to achieve that end goal. But But on you go, Swanee, you'll be able to tell more than that.
No, that's sat in a nutshell, man. That's sat in a nutshell, mate. You've nailed it, Spanks.
It's definitely. I watched it as well because you were saying watch it, Swanee, and it is good. And it definitely paints these things in a negative light, I would say. I don't feel as if there's a sort of balanced positive against negative, but there is a lot of negatives for it anyway. But it's definitely, it shows you it makes you think about the uglier side of these apps and platforms, and where your data fits in and where you fit in and who's getting exploited, and it definitely makes you think.
I was thinking about it last night as well after a couple of Negronis.
Of course it's Negronis with you.
I was drinking Negronis last night. They're fucking delicious. But it's capitalism, innit? That's what's driving the whole fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's capitalism that's basically through social media is going to fucking destroy humanity, is what they were saying. It's some seriously scary shit.
I think it's more to do with how it's now been channeled and designed beyond human capability, so it's not humans that are controlling this, and how it's feeding truth, or so-called truth, to human beings, and that ultimately changes human behaviour. That ultimately makes people behave in different manners, as we're seeing across the world. You don't need to be fucking, know what I mean? The blind man can see what it's doing, and I found it more interesting, and I know I've always knew this about social media, and it's probably more focused and concentrated these days, but I'll never see, I'm seeing all my truths. I know that it's recommending the stuff that I Google and I search and I'm interested in the group and everything, and it's feeding me my truth. So the person that I went to school with, who might be the complete opposite, is sitting in a house 2 doors up, who's getting a completely different truth and reinforcements through their feed, and they'll always believe that, and that changes people's behaviours. So that makes it more enforced and more aggressive, becomes more aggressive and more, I don't know the words I'm looking for here, but it was good the way they dramatised all that, and they showed you as the wee AI guy as you, and how they feed that into you. It kind of shows people that don't really know how the background all this stuff is working, and it's open to the highest bidder. It's literally open to the highest bidder, and that part where it was saying governments can go to them and go, right, we want to destabilise Kenya, how much is that going to be on ads? And when you break that down, it's shocking, because we put an ad up for winning our best Scottish wedding band, and we'll put some money on that, and we'll target it for people that are looking for weddings and wedding dresses and all that kind of stuff, so they people see that. So that's, if you've got billions of dollars, then you're able to destabilise countries and continents in the world, which is fucking scary, man. Scary as fuck.
There's no regulation. That's their point. It's like, we need to regulate this.
Did we not learn a fucking thing from the banks, ladies and gentlemen? And we still haven't learned anything for the banks. We don't regulate anything. I was listening to the Rogan podcast the other day there, I don't know what episode it was, and it was the guy that you've put on the Banger or Saint list.
Do you know who Edward Snowden's on it this week? I've not listened to it yet. I'm excited about it.
But he comes up with a point I was actually thinking about a couple of days ago, just off the top of my head, in my own work life. They were talking about it in the context of police brutality, and how we're seeing a lot more of this and stuff, and people want to defund the cops, and people want to praise the cops and stuff like that. But what he was talking about was there is absolutely no culpability nowadays for anybody. Now, human beings learn behaviours over a period of time. Now look at the biggest job in the world, Trump. There's no he never gets held to account for anything, and he knows that, and people know that. And cops who are given ultimate power, they're human beings at the end of the day, but they've got ultimate power of the rule of law over everybody. They've got that ultimate power corrupts ultimately at some point, doesn't it? But they've got that, and there's no culpability. We've seen all the videos, we've seen all the videos, and we've actually watched the videos of guys getting beat, and then the 4 cops walking out the courtroom with fucking not guilties, and you go, how can they're not guilty? So there's no
footage is actually there.
Yeah,
the footage is
so
there to see it.
That's the exact same in the regulation of financial institutions and social media institutions. They know that there is no regulation and there's no culpability. If I get a job tomorrow, guys, as the CEO HSBC, it's party time, because as soon as they appoint me, I can last a day, to be honest, but I'm getting my fucking huge massive payout and I'm off to the Bahamas in my private jet. So there is absolutely no repercussions, is the word I suppose, for anybody now. And the Elon Musk episode on that, the clip that's going about now about him about AI, where he says he told them, you need to regulate this AI, it needs to slow down. And that's one of the, he's the top mind of our fucking generation. I
suppose the issue they've got is that any sort of law and regulation has to go through a million fucking bits of red tape and all sorts of interest groups and all sorts of politicians and whatever before you can make changes in that. But AI and technology is so much fucking faster than that it'll never catch up. The regulation could, in theory, could never really catch up.
Before you get to the red tape and all of that, you need the will to get involved in trying to regulate it. I watch, like, I'm not going to get political, but just for a point, I kind of watch like Prime Minister's Question Time, usually every week if I'm there on a Wednesday, if I'm in on a Wednesday. But literally every week, Keir Starmer or whatever comes up and asks, right, what's happening, coronavirus, people are dying, can't get a test, blah, blah, blah. And 3 or 4 questions, whatever it is, and every week Boris Johnson says stuff like, you're just trying to run down the NHS, we need to get behind the NHS, we're doing a great job, the tests are there. And it's basically, that's replicated through Facebook. So, Labour will say, what's happening with the tests? Boris Johnson will say exactly the same thing. I'm talking about this is 3 or 4 weeks this has happened. Boris Johnson will stick to the same line, we're doing a great job. And instead of actually any of them having a conversation, that basically they're saying the exact same stuff, and then that filters through to social media where people are saying, listen, they're so your Boris Johnson fans will hear that and say, oh, listen to him, he's right, he's doing a great job, people need to stop knocking him. And then your Labour fans or whatever political party, SNP, whatever, will stick to their thing and say, no, well, look, we're doing a great job, look at the facts. Everybody's got their different facts, and it just seems that there's no conversation. There's no conversation. It's just basically people repeating the same shit again and again and again.
Bites as well,
and I feel like that's the way social media has been. It's just literally people just repeating the same shit again and again and again. There's no conversation.
Be true.
People don't understand it. So see, but us sitting talking about AI, people are sitting there who's going, oh, so it's robots, son, and they're fucking controlling and it's no like that. What it is these things are learning, so they're actually fucking learning to get better and better at targeting exactly what to put to you. Now, if they're getting paid by good intentioned people who want to make the world better, then fucking brilliant, that's a great thing. But it's it's open to the highest bidder with no regulation. So you're getting targeted with fucking absolute shite, and you'll believe it, because even there's all of us all have seen something that's not true, and you'll have believed it. There's no doubt about that in my mind. The way that they target this and the way the AI gets it. But that means the truth is lost. There's never any truth, and when you can't get any truth, then it's just complete divide and complete anarchy.
If you don't have a conversation between the two sides, you'll never get to the truth. Because people say there's 3 sides to the story. One side, the other side, and the truth somewhere in the middle. But you never reach that point if the 2 sides are just repeating the same stuff
absolutely
again and again, because they're in this wormhole, just repeating it and seeing it. And one of the worst things I think social media is comments on like whatever, anything, anything that comes up, whether it's a paper puts a thing up or whatever, somebody puts a post up about something that's slightly controversial, and just people commenting, both sides. Both way. One, you look at first comment, don't wear masks, it's a lie, blah blah blah, fucking mask, this and that. The next comment, oh, you need to wear masks, you're a fucking whatever, mask. The next comment, and then as you say, there's all facts and figures that each side bringing up. And see, really, the mask thing, I wear a mask and I will wear a mask, but I think it is a bit ambiguous, really. I don't think there's a concrete thing that says you wear a mask that's guaranteed to prevent you passing that
No,
on. I don't think it's
not.
like that. It's more just like it helps.
It might help you. See,
It
the
might
thing
help
is,
a bit, aye.
I wear it because they say, you know, it will help somebody else from getting it. So
Well,
it might work for
exactly,
other
aye.
people.
So,
aye.
the point is, if you want to wear a mask, wear it. If you don't, you don't. It's up to you. But
But you mentioned the darker side in there as well, Merv, because the comments aren't people. The comments are 90% programmed AI bots. So they're even in the comments to stir that up even more.
All right.
And that's a dark side. So that's who is that wants that to happen? Who wants to destabilise certain political issues? Who wants to destabilise certain countries' issues by stirring up hate and fear? And by doing that, and when you look on a post, if you see a clickbait gammon head post about some fucking, you know, immigrants on a dinghy, and you click on that and you see 10,000 other comments saying send them fucking back to where they came from, you're validated straight away. So you're validated, and your views are validated and entrenched even further. Before they can come and say to you, can you have a wee look at this? Just look at what you're actually saying here. You know, look at the evidence instead of just what you're being fed. And it's hard because if people are in their house all day, every day, and they're just scrolling through this stuff constantly, that's where we've got a massive problem, because it's an addictive it's a social phenomenon, but it's addictive, which is the worst part about that, because all the bad bits that we've spoke about are only getting worse. They're only going to get worse. So the AI is getting better and better and better at targeting and feeding and advertising, and they're not going to get any. They say that in the documentary. I'm sure they won't get any worse at that. So if they're getting better with an addictive, I mean, the beautiful thing on that documentary was they said there's only 2 industries in the world that call their customers users, and that's the drug trade and social media. You know, and that says a lot about the addictiveness of that. And especially if you're in a lockdown pandemic situation, people need validated, especially people that are in their house themselves, nobody to speak to, nobody to bounce back off of. They're watching the same news programmes, getting fed the same stuff that they're seeing on their Facebook, and they're entrenched in their own beliefs. And it's very few and far between where you get somebody nowadays and you say, I was this, and see, after reading a few things and talking to a few people, I'm now this.
no,
Very, very seldom you get that nowadays.
Well, it used to they go on about that technology and computers even 20 years ago were just tools. That was the whole intention of it. Even social media, when it started, it was
So
meant to be a
web.
tool, but
Yeah.
now it's a complete it's just a manipulation machine now. That's all it is. It's
The
a
manipulation
money-making
was always there.
manipulation machine.
the manipulation was there before social media, before internet, before social media. You could watch a programme on the TV. Obviously, there's adverts. The adverts they're targeted
in
to
media,
the people that
yeah,
are more likely.
yeah.
But that's mass market. I'm going for everybody that's watching that programme there, Merv, with that advert. This is going for you.
I know,
You're,
so
you're
that's
the,
obviously
you're the product.
It's evolved into that, but I think we were the product then as well. Because the thing it says in that programme, I don't know what the exact words are. Something about if you're paying for it, you're not the product. But if you're paying for it, what do you
So
know?
true.
Do you know what it is? I don't know what
So
the thing is.
if you're paying for something, then that's the product. If you're not paying for something and using it, you're the product.
Aye. So basically, what they're saying, because social media is free, then the advertisers are paying the cost for it. So therefore, you're the product. It's your data that's the product. But then they're conflating, and they're saying maybe rightfully your data is then you, so you're the product because your data is a product. But I feel that was the way before. Not the same experience as what it is now. Obviously, it wasn't tailor made for each individual. But if you're watching a programme on ITV, you're not paying for it. And it's getting funded through advertising, and the programming, to me, even the programming itself is quite biased. Never mind the adverts. So it's definitely a different scale from what exists now with the internet, but I feel as if it was still there. This is just an evolution of that. And even papers, I mean, Rupert Murdoch and that, some of his monopoly that he had, I watched that 3-part documentary a few weeks ago, I think it was actually. It's quite interesting, you should check it out on the BBC, but that guy was controlling a lot, you know, and it's not tinfoil hat stuff. It's like when you see the amount of papers and things that he had, and obviously the Sun and the News of the World pre-internet, pre-social media was the way that voters were influenced. So to me it was there. Definitely it's way worse and is magnified now, but I think it was always there before that.
It's more advanced and targeted, but I know
way
what
more
you're saying,
advanced.
mate, yeah. Absolutely. Oh, this is going to be a cheery one, isn't it? It's going to be a fucking cheery one. Has anybody got any cheery stories before we get into the rest of it? No, life shite. Right, okay.
No cheery stories, nah. Nah, no good. No good.
Neil,
news.
how was the wedding? That's cheery.
Aye.
The wedding was bra, man. It was actually really nice. It was really quiet and
Good, man.
it was
Good. You looked well in your kilt, mate.
It felt good. It was weird. I was walking. It was a kind of church in Edinburgh. They were doing it, and then I had to go and get Gordon's car for him, so I could bring it up to the front, and they could get in, go away for a bit. And it was in the. I don't know if you know Edinburgh much.
Yeah.
No, it's you know where the Cine World is. The car park is right there. It was parked in there, and so I'm walking down in my full kilt with my mask on, except my mask. I got a tartan buff, so I had a tartan buff on my head, and I was walking by, and this big burly guy in a white van pulled up and was like, "You're looking good, son. You're looking good." I was like, "Thanks."
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. And it was your 8-year anniversary as well, is that right?
It was. The same day,
Happy
man.
anniversary, mate.
Next day.
Happy anniversary, mate.
8 years. 8 years.
anniversary.
Woo! I spent it working, but you know, that's the way it is.
8 years.
That's well, you're past the 7-year itch.
That's it. That's what they say. I know. Aye. I missed the 7th year. Don't know what happened to the 7th year.
What's supposed to happen in the 7th year? Actually,
It's usually where most divorces happen.
That's average.
Is that right?
Aye.
That's when the average divorce happens, or separation.
Yeah.
right.
I suppose that's good news for wedding bands if that's true.
Call us in 7 years.
Repeat custom.
Aye, repeat business.
I've had one of those.
I've
I've played one of those before. Where there's a guy. No, it was a woman. The woman that was her second wedding with us in the kicks.
We've done that as well. Aye.
done it as well.
It was
Shout
great.
out to Michelle. She's mental.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There you go. There's your cheers, Spanks.
There you are.
A cheery
Well
story.
done.
Right, there we go. Just not even 2 minutes.
I'll be getting cut.
What's your favourite and least favourite social app?
Well, if it's a social app, what do I use the most? I find myself opening Instagram more now because it's less reading folks' shite and just looking at their shite instead. So you don't need to engage your brain as much.
Do you follow that page, Human Shites?
No, is that a page? Aye. Let's have a look.
I just made that up there.
I'm
But
looking
you
at
did say
this
you
one.
were
I'm typing it in
looking
now.
at shite.
Human shites.
Yeah, though, Merv, now that you've said
No
that,
results,
your phone's going to target you, and you're going to get some weird things coming up.
Good shite for your letterbox and all that.
No, there's
I think Instagram is the worst thing ever. I never get into it. I only had the app for. Sorry, I'm watching highlights. I only got the app for the band to check the band stuff. I never even opened it. I hate. See, when Facebook started doing the photos and the tagging and the photos, and I was like, get that to fuck. I don't want to see your bathwater. I don't want to see your fucking dinner. I don't want any of that. Get out of my life.
Shite.
People
are right into it, but it's just me. I just don't get into that at all. I'd prefer to read some.
I would agree with the design business stuff here. It's pretty much 90% of our custom base is now on Instagram. They contact us through it. They want it, and most of them are PTs, personal trainers. And honest to God, we've had to stop like with unfriending them because every 2 minutes there's another picture of somebody's arse or somebody's like midriff and cellulite, It's half and half. Sometimes they're like, whoa, doing squats like that, 3 or 4 pictures later, and then some you've got like the before and afters, and oh man, it's not pretty. Like it's not pretty.
Aye, get that to fuck. Instagram is the most boring thing. I don't think I've ever scrolled more than 30 seconds on it.
I watch people's
went,
stories a lot. I find myself doing that. a lot when I'm just. But I try and stay off Facebook because it's guff, innit? It's absolutely. It's all guff.
I'll tell you what's the worst though. The absolute worst. And I only had a wee 4-month stint on it there. Twitter. Oh my fucking lord, man.
That'll melt your brain.
That's a depressant. That's a depressant.
Some people love Twitter.
Some people
I've never.
love Twitter.
Mate,
yeah.
I've not honestly.
Really
that is a
involved.
depressant of a thing. I'm so glad I get a deal of that because honestly, you find yourself actually. And I wasn't a big user. I definitely wasn't a big user, but you would actually find yourself going, "Fuck, that's been 30 minutes. I've just been reading this." It's like 290 comments.
Textual and it's opinion noise. It's the sheer noise, man.
That's terrible.
It's the equivalent of being in a room with thousands of folks screaming opinions
it
at each
gets
other.
me anxious that way, Spanks. That's what it feels like sometimes. You get anxious reading Twitter because it's like a fight in a fucking party.
When the elections happened at Christmas, I remember turning up to the gig at the next day, and I was so fucking down because I'd been awake all night because I was gutted with the result of Bojo getting the fucking massive majority, and then I was made worse because I was just looking for opinions all night. I had this weird thing where I was just on Twitter just looking for any opinion, even the ones I want to disagree with them. I find myself actively seeking them out, and I was just like, so I was up till fucking, I was up all night, no sleep, and I was fucking sheer depressed about the whole thing. I'm like, this is fucking murder, man, murder.
Terrible. Don't do it.
I'm weaning myself off it.
Do you know what I've noticed recently as well? Because you try to keep up with any, news and stuff that's happening. You just go into your Safari or whatever, Google Chrome on your phone, and you type news in or type whatever you want in, and it comes up. It actually starts to recognise the articles, the type of articles that you read, and it starts to fill your Google News with the same article over and over and over again, just in different
that's it,
outlets.
makes money out you, keeps you engaged.
Fucking so weird, but I mean, for news, that's the opposite. How you want that to work?
The problem
that's
with
the fucking opposite.
A big problem with that, apart from the fact you're getting fed the same stuff, is some of the places that the stuff is coming from is so biased. Like, say somebody's putting up some sort of pro-Brexit, whatever, post, and it's maybe you need to read this, tells you the truth about Brexit, and then you look at the name of it and it's like Britain First, the Britain First magazine, and you're like, if you're reading that, then obviously that's why you're in that way of thinking, because without reading it, I could be wrong, whatever the thing is. I'm just saying that as an example. I don't even know if that's a real thing, but you know what I mean. There's those, you read the name of the magazine or the paper, and it's you can tell just by the name.
Well, I can do
biased,
that. I can do that with papers, and if I go in my Google News feed, I can go the Express, and it's always got like an anti-independence headline for me, and then you'll go to your Sons and all that kind of stuff, and that that the way that these publications lean, so it just becomes pointless.
Well, you get the smaller and smaller publications, and nobody really knows if it's a big publication or a small publication. It gets to the point where it's like
the wee one.
Not even that. It's just individual guys with a website, and when somebody's sharing it like that, look at this is the facts, and you're like, well, is it? I mean, what is that? Who is this guy that's writing it? And it's hard to know. It's hard for them to ever really know what's
There's
true,
one I've discovered during this that I found pretty decent, that independent site. I quite like that. It's got both sides. It does lean a wee bit more to the left, but it seems to be quite, fair and impartial, which is rare as fuck. Game's kicked off.
Well, I just put the game on there on my phone myself, actually. See what you were talking about 10 minutes ago about bots winding the conversation up. There was a thing on, I think the Scottish national team did obviously at the moment they're doing the kneeling for Black Lives Matter every game just now, and the Scottish national team did it as well. Right, fair enough, but the top comment was some guy going, I followed this team my whole life, but bending going on the knee is just I can't remember what he fucking said, but it was basically a right fucking out of order. You can't believe anyone would ever say that. So maybe that was a fucking bot, because then it was just what the fuck? I'm glad you're not following our team anymore, you fucking racist prick, and all that kind of shit. So it could have been a bot, because it was quite extreme.
There will be bots, but they're definitely real people. Posting,
definitely
posting some mad comments, like very
Well, there's definitely some real fleshed racist cunts out there. There's no doubt about that.
He was angry about that. I mean, what's wrong with you, man? Dude, somebody never loved you.
I think if talking about apps, I usually post the stuff mainly for the band and stuff, and obviously the ones are Facebook, Instagram and Twitter that we post on, but I definitely feel like posting on Twitter a real chore. Like, it's so hard to get engagement. It's so... it's kind of boring to you never really get much likes or stuff.
I don't think it's our platform. No, that's why we're not on Snapchat. I don't think it's right for us. It's not the right thing.
And I think what you're saying, Neil, Instagram is great for a business that's visual. Like food. It's amazing. You see cafes that have got like 10,000 likes, and just because obviously they're posting or burgers or whatever, or that lunch place or whatever it's
definitely
called.
Works for cafes and that's how I've ended up going to these strange places.
Exactly. It's amazing.
That looks delicious. I really want to go there. So that really works for cafes and stuff. Yeah.
It's perfect. Any visual stuff.
Yeah,
it's like extreme window shopping.
Yeah, definitely. But Facebook seems to be the sort of middle ground, and I think, even though we don't want to admit it, a problem for us is our age. Where Instagram, we maybe don't translate that well on Instagram when it's a younger audience. So certainly, I don't even know about the modern Snapchat. So
Snapchat's not right.
TikTok, I don't even know.
If you don't know how to use filters, you are fucked. You are an old dinosaur.
Fuck's sake! I'm just watching the game as well. It's not good news.
What's the score?
On
St Johnstone.
Is it?
St Mirren, sorry.
Johnson?
It's a really bizarre game.
This will be an interesting one. We're watching the game at the same time.
Fuck is he doing at that back post, man?
Well, apps, non-social apps. I'm looking at my phone now.
I was looking at my phone as well, funny enough.
The best one I've installed recently has been Just Watch. That's when you put in all your... you put in all the streaming services you've got. So, like Netflix, Amazon, Now TV, Disney, Prime, iPlayer, ITV, Channel 4, all that, and YouTube and stuff like that. And it'll start learning what you like, but you need to tell it what you like, and it'll come up with suggestions. It will tell you what's brand new, and it'll say, because you like this, you might like that. But it's cross-platform, so it's, instead of having to jump into each individual one and look for something, it'll suggest something to you. So it's quite handy, really handy.
Sounds good. I like the sound of it, and I don't go on great with Netflix, but
it's like a comparison site for the lot of them.
I could be wrong, but it might be the same with the app you're mentioning, but I feel like it's similar to what we've been talking about with Facebook and stuff. It takes you down the same rabbit hole or the same stuff, and you miss other stuff.
I think, remember what Andy was talking about was the differences that you're paying for it as well. I'm not paying for that app, but the services I'm paying for, so that it doesn't feel, to me, it doesn't feel like the algorithms are as the... they're just because you've watched something that's similar and watch this, rather than I want you to go and read all these comments about people you really disagree with for half an hour while you're lying in your bed. You should be sleeping.
Don't you know what's a good app? I'm just walking through the now. Shazam's a good app. For me, Shazam's a modern miracle. If you're talking about good stuff and bad stuff, like technology and the modern world, I mean, imagine trying to explain that 30 years ago.
You know what's mental, Merv? Shep literally texted me this morning about Shazam, saying, he says, do you know if you hold the button down, it goes into auto mode, and just every song that it listens to, where you kind of leave it down, it'll make up the full playlist. So say you're listening to a DJ on Six Music, and you'll have this whole set. If you had auto thing on, you would go there and it would tell you all the tunes, and then you would just send it to Spotify, and the playlist is there. So it goes into auto mode and just listens to everything. Cool. I didn't know that. It's really good.
Good recommendation from Shep.
Yeah.
But to me, that's magic. You hold your phone up to a speaker and it tells you the song. That's magic. That's the best for me.
You don't need
That's
an
the
app
best
for that now, but Siri does it. It's programmed into Siri.
Is it? Well, the concept of that, whatever it is, Siri or Shazam, whatever, the concept of technology being able to do that is...
That's
Apple must
amazing.
have bought Shazam,
Yeah.
I'm assuming then, because you can just say
Yeah.
it. Aye.
Aye.
Good app side. There's the positive side of it is some of it is fucking brilliant, and as you say, it is magic. That was also in that docu-film. The good trick is indistinguishable from magic. That's to quote something like that, isn't it? Controversial. Track and trace might be good if it works.
Well, it looks like a decent app. I downloaded it. I thought it was going to be a heap of shit, but it kind of looks like solid app, and it looks decent.
long as it works.
If it works, then I'm
Internet
up for
fucking
downloading it.
banking.
Internet. I was actually going to say that, but I thought it was too boring to mention
No,
it.
but I'm thinking
internet
about
banking
having to
is
go
good,
down to the fucking bank just to set up
I
a
know.
standing order.
Aye, it's amazing. It is.
So you've single-handedly caused about thousands of bank clerks' jobs, Spanks. With that comment.
Terrible. They're still there though. The banks are still there, man.
Just Eat. Is that a good app?
Just Eat's no bad. I have the three. The fucking and
Holy
again it was
Trinity.
mentioned in that film. Uber is fucking like magic. Uber's amazing.
They did mention that, and
Uber's
it is amazing.
probably my
Don't
favourite
use them
app,
much,
aye.
but and you can actually watch the taxi coming towards you.
Make
And you know where it
cash.
is.
You don't need to have money. You don't remember having to fucking stop at cash machines for a taxi for years because I'm like, if I'm not getting money on, man, you need to jump out of a taxi. Never need to worry about that anymore. Just go bink, bink. Taxi turns up. It's amazing. Uber's probably up there for me, I think.
Even I was just walking through my most used apps, and it's like probably just to be expected. But my battery usage anyway: Facebook 33%, Health 19%, and Instagram 12%. That's my top.
Health?
Three, then
You open the
Spotify.
Health app?
Well, I'm assuming the Health app must just be running constantly. It says
it does,
actually
aye.
inside. It says here COVID-19 exposure logging. It must be. I'm guessing
Okay.
it must be.
Aye, Apple have integrated with the Scottish app.
Aye, it must be what they do with that. So that's how that's high. And Spotify and Mail. If anybody cares.
Fucking Google Maps is unbelievably important, especially for us. Yeah, the diaries, digital diaries, fucking hell.
By the way, you can't underestimate Google Maps. That's magic as well. I mean, imagine trying to do. I think we've said it before in the van many times, but imagine trying to do what we do.
We're in
30
A to Z.
years ago. Aye, with a map.
You need to write it all down in that. Aye.
We can't do it with the fucking sat.
I know.
We'll beat your wedding, don't worry.
That's how
allowed.
the fucking boomers think we're rubbish. That's how they think we're lazy in that because we have all these advantages. I think
Aye.
I mean, heading down
Not right.
that rabbit hole. I've been heading down that today as well. Watching Karen videos. Do you know what a Karen is?
No.
It's do you know what a Karen is, Neil?
No.
A Karen's basically, can I speak to your manager, please? That character is defined nowadays as
aye,
a Karen.
with the Karen haircut.
Aye, basically. So you
Is that
can go
that?
and you can go top 10 Karen moments, and it's just like mental middle-aged women screaming at skateboarders and shit like that for no reason.
Put man on, let's hear man.
Fucking hell. What was the one today? I don't know how well it'll translate, but
Do you get any favourite or non-favourite apps, Neil?
I think for me
Your
it's the ones that convert everything. So any of your like your PD,
finding Karens.
any of your PDFs and all that. Every time I get a file sent to me, I hate not being able to open it. And I'm like, can't just something open every fucking thing that someone sends to me? Whether it be MP3s or WAVs or MP4s or this pish, I'm like, just send me I want something that opens it all. And that's the
There you
kind of
go,
apps I
mate.
like. That's that.
That's been thought of, Neil, but I think they just can't. I mean, they would easily create those apps that would do all in one, but they can't get all the licensing into one.
I know, it's fucking stupid.
It's capitalism, mate. That's what that is.
Actually,
You can't open my fucking PDF because some bastard's got a private jet.
it's mental. It's mental. It's like that when we were talking about that colour black and the colour pink, and you can't. Someone's went, no, you can't use it because it's my colour. It's fucking shut up. Get in a sea.
Fucking my colour.
But it's funny though, because like without, I think what you were talking about before, it's just business. You literally can't create demand unless you throw in two sides that people can fight over. If you just give everyone the answer and then everyone, then you wouldn't create any sort of demand. There'd be no rush or need for anything.
That's it.
Unfortunately, they need to do that.
Well, we've seen that now because we're all spending a bit less and living a bit differently. You really do notice a difference. You wonder why you were spending money on so much crap. Yeah, you know
what the need was for.
I think I've got a good Karen one here.
Let's do it.
But it's just fucking horrible. I think what's happened
explain what it is, Spanks.
I'll explain. So, as I say, a Karen is now a modern term for...
See the way you say that? It sounds like carring.
Karen.
That's what I thought
Karen.
it was as well.
Karen. Karen. You've not seen Karen.
No, Karen.
Karen. Karen.
No, it's not. It's Karen.
Karen. Karen. So, emphasis on the A.
Aye.
Not Karen.
Karen. I was like, what's a carring video?
Karen.
Is that motors or something like that?
Karen. Sorry. Karen for all the people that have normal ears. So I think what's going on in this is one of taken from a compilation. I think this is basically it's conflict videos of basically folk that are entitled arseholes shouting at wee lassies in coffee shops and stuff like that for getting either the rod or wrong. And this so happens to be kind of reflected in my new job at the moment. I'm finding a lot, and I'm ready to stab some motherfuckers who think they can get a 5-star service for a £3.60 pint of tenants. So that I need to run back and forth with a card machine for because it's table service. So
a week he's been wanting, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
ready to
One whole fucking week.
I'm ready to kill. I know.
There's no like. I'm glad I get a job in that. I'm glad I'm not like sitting.
I'm delighted I've got a job, and I'm very grateful when I do.
You want to stab people.
90% of it I enjoy, but there is the 5% is.
What is the other? What's part of the 90% you enjoy then?
Well, not most people are like 99% of folk are really, really nice, and I'm finding a lot of the students are like extremely fucking nice, and it's really awkward now because you need to tell folk where they sit, you need to tell them they need to wear a mask, and there's only groups of, but it's like you tell them, particularly the students and that are just nice as pie. Like, see folk Keen's age, man, they're all fucking angels is what I'm finding. Like, they're just do with their fucking tell, yeah, no problem, that's fine, aye, because they respect you straight away for some fucking weird reason. I'm not used to that. But
it's an odd phenomenon.
But what I'm finding, not everybody, but what I'm finding a lot of kind of an older generation that's used to a certain way of things for a long, long time, expect certain things, and when it doesn't go their way because they're either maybe a regular and I'm the new guy and something goes wrong, they're fucking like raging as if I'm fucking stupid and I'm ready to fucking headbutt you fucking old cunt. Is what it feels like. So I found myself I'm probably under a manipulation as well. I was thinking it because now I'm looking at Karen videos to fucking do you know what I mean, which is maybe been suggested to me. So what's happening in this particular moment is I think it's a petrol station and it's a new girl working there and it's maybe a regular going in, and because the regular woman,
play the video.
I'm trying to explain it. I think the regular woman has been chased outside because this new lassie hasn't been aware that the woman's paid for her petrol, right? And so she's raging at this because she's there all the time, and she can't understand that this lassie's new and doesn't know that her manager knows that it's been paid for, basically. So I think that's what's going on. Aye.
I'm looking at the pump. I can't because I didn't know.
Telling me you're going to take my license plate. I'm here every day.
Slamming the desk.
Look at the pump.
Listen now.
I'm looking at the pump and that's what it's
She's trying to get it though.
10:01. Come and look.
I just looked at it. It says we're missing $6.
But I just punched
But
it
now
on
look at
one.
what I have to
It's
do.
not my problem.
It's not my problem.
It's Squarespace ad there for one reason, but I basically
what are you fucking doing with your life, man? Why would you watch that?
I don't know. It's a mad perversion, I guess. It's funny. Some of it's funny. There's a woman they can't hear it, but one of them's just a woman standing and smiling at she's trying to get in the way of the skateboarding guys, and they're like, Hen, what the fuck are you doing? They're just filming her going, what's the problem here? And because she knows she's filming, she's just standing smiling. And she was chasing after the wee guys and that, because she's obviously not happy that they're skateboarding.
Aye.
Fucking hell,
But it's a
man.
massive open space in the middle of a city and nobody's around apart from 4 skateboarders and her. And it's like, what's the fucking problem?
Does all of this not just boil onto the...
You chased me?
I did.
Give me your name right now.
All right, ma'am, she was just doing her job. I'm
No.
It's
sorry.
the guy with the camera trying to help.
She was just doing her job. But she was just doing her job.
Give me a second here.
She was just doing her job.
I didn't know you would pay her. I
Well,
thought
you
it was
should have
somebody.
asked.
Open fire.
Sorry.
You know I'm here all the
They
time.
told me.
See that? I mean,
somebody was collecting
entitlement.
receipts.
I'm here all the time.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
She was just doing her job.
Mind your business.
No, I'm sorry, ma'am, but I was just trying to tell you something.
Mind your business.
I was
She's
just
shouting at the
trying to
camera
help.
again now.
Your business.
Ma'am, I was just trying to help.
Stay there.
Ma'am, I
Stay
was
the
just trying to
fuck
help.
here.
Don't
Back the
conduct
fuck
yourself
up.
that way. You don't chase somebody. I was just standing in line for
Give me a second. Give me a second.
Oh, jeez.
Please, ma'am.
Nah, that's fucking awful, man.
Is that what it's like
that's
here?
awful.
What by any chance?
That is the what social media does to people. There you
That's
go.
it. Aye.
Aye, that's true. Great
That's it,
way to
mate.
round all that up, Neil.
That's
Brilliant.
it.
Well played, mate. That's
That's
fucking
it.
it.
It does. That's what
If
it's
you-
like. That's what Facebook is like. That's the audio version of what it's fucking like in the comment
everybody
section.
wants to get their comment in, but do you think there's an element here of the old respecting your elders argument, rightly or wrongly, whether that should be the case, and maybe that's what's happening in your place, and maybe that's what's happening with that girl in that petrol station, where old people expect a certain degree of respect from people that are younger?
Yeah, but so it doesn't go 2 ways. It only goes one way. There's only one way respect.
But
Then
I'm not saying it should. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying they should necessarily be respected for being older, but is it maybe the case
Well, that's the idea of privilege,
controversial? I
innit?
know, but I suppose it is privilege in a sense.
No, I was just I'm near myself.
I wondered what
that worked perfectly this morning.
Pass the post by Edward.
Do you respect
Over to
your
Matt Leedy.
elders, Swanee?
There's no many folk left in the world that's older than me, to be honest. No, fucking no chance. You need to earn respect.
That's
man.
it. No
It
matter
doesn't
what
matter
age you are.
That's
Fucking
it.
exactly. That's
But
it.
I think there's definitely, I agree with that, but there's definitely some people I think.
How long have we
See,
known
the
you,
other way.
Banks? 10 years and you've still no fucking
Yeah,
him?
but
It's a long time, mate.
oh, if I've ever tried to respect it, it's been squashed anyway for entertainment. But I know that I was watching a thing about the boomers versus the millennials the day, and it was saying that apparently the boomers had to, when they were younger, they were taught that they had to respect their elders. So now that they're old, that's what they expect. Apparently, so you might be right there, Merv. Maybe that's what's going
Well,
on. But
you
I
could-
agree with Swanee. Yeah, you need to fucking, if I cunt's a cunt at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what
Well,
age you
that's
are.
it. And I just let them die, if they get COVID, just let them die. Fuck it.
Most of them are
That's
fucking...
basically that's what they've said. That's what our not our generation, but that's what our governments have said.
No, that I know.
So
I know.
don't respect them. Let them die. We're going to lose some loved ones. You know what I mean? Ultimate disrespect.
Yeah.
They're not happy, not.
No, I find it fascinating, the old generational thing. Actually, we could do another podcast on that.
No, you could actually. It's a good idea, and I think a problem for old people is, and a reason that happens is, I don't want to generalise, but probably, and we're probably part of it as well, but you don't understand what's happening with the younger generation. And a good example, as opposed to the stuff we've been talking about, I certainly don't understand TikTok, Snapchat, any of that. When I was trying to look up banging or saying that are related to this topic, I was opening up influencers and YouTubers, and I'm like, I don't have a clue who any of these people are. So
Be glad
it could
about
just
that.
be. I'm glad about that, but it's maybe just a.
Yes! Fucking beauty.
You quoted
Shane
it.
Duffy.
Do you know what the definitions are for each generation? I'll just read them out.
Generation X is one.
Well,
is that
that's
what we are?
I'll read them all out. So, traditionalist or the silent generation were born before 1945. I think that's like they call themselves the greatest generation, don't they? Because they lived through the war. So
Greatest
fair enough.
generation.
They've got respect straight away. They lived through the fucking Second World War, right?
I bet there's still some fucking arseholes amongst them, but
Of course. Baby boomers. That's most of our parents, I think, are between 46 and 64. Generation X are 65 and 76. So you're just a millennial, Sonny. 1977 and then 1995. So that's all of us. We're millennials, or Generation Y. And then the new gen is Gen Z,
Not Y.
or iGen, or Centennials. They're born from 1996 till still to be decided. So that's Keen's age.
just like fucking horoscopes or that shit, isn't it?
Well, it's not really, because they're putting a stamp on certain. It's not. I know what you mean, though, Swanee. I guess.
Why have they cut off points? Why don't you make it 1986 to 1996 or whatever? But
I'd say that's not an exact science.
Nah, but imagine the different experience in life that you'll have if you're born now, taking into account all of these things that exist that we've spoke about, social media, polarisation, it's a different life.
I think a problem is as well that because millennials and above have the technology, communication technology is so much easier, and things can be done so much easier, and there's a lot less labour involved, that the boomers see it as they've got it fucking easy, where financially the opposite is fucking true.
Aye, swings and roundabouts. Some things are easier, some things are harder. But think about the fact that your whole life is documented in photos and videos from the word go these days.
I mean,
I'm lucky if I can't remember seeing many photos of me when I was younger and that, and I'm sure you are the same. But think of kids these days. Every single moment is documented.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true.
Eating your breakfast, right through to first steps, through to every single aspect, and eventually by the time you're an adult, think of the data that exists for you at that point. Pretty much you've almost been in like a reality TV show in a sense. It'll get to that point, and it'll be a very different experience from what we're used to, good or bad. I don't know. I think actually when you think about it, we're talking about the negatives, but one of the plus points of all of this is you're opened up to more different cultures, different ways of thinking through having access to the internet, social media, YouTube, whatever. You can definitely see more points of view. As much as we're saying the opposite, it's true that I think you can learn more about other ways of thinking, more so than a certain generation. If you're not using the internet as much, you might not necessarily have access to as much of that, or it might not be in your face, and you might not really consider it. You might stick more to your old-fashioned views and stuff, for better or worse.
Last question then on social media.
Yeah.
What's the future for it, Spanks?
Oh, come back to me. I did think about something for this the other day. What was this?
Neil, what's the future for social media?
The future for social media is it's going to play out till it wrings every last thing out of humanity, and then it'll move on to the next thing. It'll just upgrade.
Aliens.
It'll just upgrade onto the next. I think as far as my small understanding of how humanity actually works, is it's just like a big cycle of repeat. So it's gonna, as just like Flair's come back in, just like just like Bebo's gonna make a return under a different name, or it's always the same shit. And as much as I could be easily taken over by the Terminator philosophy that the AI is going to literally dominate us, but at the end of the day, it was written by idiots like us, so it's gonna fall off at some point and have to get redone and refigured out. And then, as much as like AI can like take over based on our programming skills, and then their sort of adaptation and perfecting, they're only still, in my understanding, perfecting on imperfection. So I don't think it's entirely possible that it's ever going to come to an end, unfortunately, but it's just going to rinse and repeat until it makes a new mode, and then
reinvents itself.
You keep telling the rat it's in a different kind of cage, it'll never know it's in the one cage. It will stop revolting. It'll just keep going round and round and round and round and round and round. So yeah.
Well, I think that film says if it's not regulated soon, it'll be the end of fucking humanity. This is what is fucking basically they're saying, isn't it?
Well, I think I'm taking that apocalyptic view of it. The future is, we're basically, when we're talking about us being the product, we're like oil to this, the AI and the social media, and there's only so much oil you can take out the ground, isn't there? So there's only so much humanity can take out of this mince. But I think Neil's maybe got a point. I think there was a point in the documentary as well that was saying, you know, human beings aren't stupid, they wake up at some point. So whenever that happens, maybe, I don't see it in the near future or anything like that, but I think there will be a big awakening and people will go, I don't fucking need this shit in my life. Because I certainly got that recently, and about all through the pandemic I was like, I'm getting rid of this, and I slowly get rid of everything down to my Facebook, and I'll just get rid of that as well. Just keep my Messenger for the group chat and my WhatsApp for the group chats, and like I say, I just log into Facebook on my web browser once a day, check my notifications and then leave. So I think if we can get to that point and people start living more fruitful lives and doing more fruitful stuff instead of scrolling through a fucking screen for 19 hours a day. I was actually noticing, I don't know how this happened, maybe because we're no gigging and you're on your phone more, but I actually started to get a wee tremor in my thumb and stuff like that with it, just because you hold it in the same position for so long and all that, so it's not good for you in any way, shape or form.
Maybe we'll evolve stronger thumbs to do it.
Aye, maybe we'll grow another one.
We'll evolve a fucking
That'd be handy.
a SIM card in our balls or something like that. That's the future. That's my answer on that. I did think of something the other day about the future of this, and I can't remember it. That's annoying.
I think there's going to be a campaign that's going to be called Pull the Plug, and as soon as all the electricity goes out, we're going to kill ourselves, because we will get to the point of waking up and we'll take away electricity and then we'll die. Because we will not know how to live one single life one day without actually the internet, or it's just no way.
It'd be difficult going back to pre-electricity, but it'd be difficult going back pre-internet as well. But
crazy.
I think it'll be hard to predict what will happen, because I think it would have been really hard to predict this. I don't think anybody's seen this social media coming. I don't know how much people really thought that would be I've maybe said it before, but when I heard the internet, I never really envisioned any. I never really thought it seemed anything special, but there was obviously no social media, it was just email, blah blah blah. But I think it'll be hard to guess what's going to come next, because it'll be so unexpected, like most things in the future tend to be if you look in the past. But one thing that I think two things I think might happen is glasses that have got screens in them, or maybe even contact lenses with screens in them, so people will just be walking about with a set of glasses.
They've tried that, haven't they?
That's probably exists anyway, and I think the virtual reality stroke
augmented reality type,
Matrix type, you've got an avatar and you have your wife and your avatar is almost there.
I think they've been talking about. I heard Mark Zuckerberg talking about that at one point.
Well, you have your wife in a sort of your social media life is different to your real life. Your persona is different to your real persona, and you get these games, I think, where you make up a freaking. Is it Minecraft? Is that the right thing? So I can see that merging into some sort of overall.
I think that's what Zuckerberg's talking about at some point, was like it'll be a VR experience. You'll literally go home, plug in, and then you're walking about in a different world kind of thing. Aye.
So you'll plug in and then you'll just be in a room full of gammon heads talking about Brexit and that. That sounds fucking amazing, man.
But I think as well, just when you're mentioning the WhatsApp and the group chats, I don't think that's the healthiest either in a lot of ways, because it's kind of, it's not got the scrolling aspect, but it's definitely got a lot of the let's talk about.
There's a social aspect to group chats and that as well. You don't want to.
You don't want to lose that. No, definitely not. But what I'm saying is, for a start, a group chat, you get the people in the group chat that you want to speak about certain stuff, don't you? So it's not like
I meant socially, as in there's like rules and there's politics with group chats and stuff. Do you know what I mean? You have to engage it at some point. We don't have
there's
to.
Also
there's
also
but there's no aimed. There's not nothing aimed at me and the group chats. It's just my mates talking to me.
I know, but group chats in general could be like, you're right, let's have a wee group chat, but you're not coming in this chat type thing. I think there's maybe a bit of that in the background with it, you know, like, this is our wee chat, you stay in your chat, and this is our wee chat, and, you know.
It's cliquey, it's online cliquiness.
You can't have everybody in the world in one big chat.
Well, yeah, you kind of have that in Facebook, but no, of course you can't have that. But
it's online clique, mate, yeah.
It's like anything, there's good and bad, but there's definitely bad in that as well, I would say.
Yep. There's definitely bad in it, oh man.
Would Would you rather have feet or a basketball? Would you rather have teeth or a house to call your own? Let's have a game of would you rather? Would you rather?
That makes absolutely no sense.
Good evening, well.
Do you know that the OK emoji is a racist thing now? Did you know that?
The OK emoji?
The OK emoji, you know, if you do like you hold your index to your thumb.
What, like a circle?
Aye.
In some country there used to be an asshole in Brazil or something, didn't it?
Well, no, it's a military thing that I heard that in the Rogan thing, but it's a military game that used to hold it down if you look down and then you get a slap in the dick kind of thing. But
it was a meme for a while, that was it not?
Something like that. Aye, if you look at it, you get dick pinged.
Alright.
But there's, apparently I heard it was a racist emblem now of sorts.
Yeah.
Also, it's Hawaiian shirts. They told me on the same podcast. Hawaiian shirts have been adopted by the far right.
You might be right. I think John McClendon was talking about that because in one of their videos years ago he put there's like a hand that's doing that and he's now terrified about people thinking that they're white supremacists. He's also one about blonde hair and blue eyes, you know what I mean? So
well, let's just get it clear on this podcast right now. The memes are totally racist. The fascist band. Fascist band you'll ever meet.
Just when you Just when you mentioned that, I seen the other day a thing about Match of the Day. I've been told, the presenters have been told there's certain phrases and words that they're not allowed to say that have got potential racist connotations. One's nitty gritty. I don't know what it means or whatever. Another one's whiter than white. Which kind of, when you hear it, why would you say that in a way, you know? But I'm guessing it's more like angelic white, if that's...
Well, your clothes come out the washing whiter than white.
Aye, there's that, aye. But there's a few, sold me down the river. But I can't remember ever saying any of them.
Sold me down the river, so I guess that's from...
I don't know. Fuck. Must be, aye.
I used to think, remember in FIFA 98, I think they said it's all about the white men. But I used to think they were saying it's all about the white men. I'm like, that doesn't seem right.
Remember you thought getting booked for descent was getting booked for diving?
Aye. Descending.
Descent.
Aye. Would you rather? It's a social media special. Number 1, it can go to Neil.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather give up on Facebook or Twitter?
Twitter. It's easy because I don't really use Twitter, but actually I'd give up both because I don't really do Facebook much at all. Although Facebook keeps telling me you need to come back. You need to like tell everyone's missing you and all this shit. So, yeah. If it was, would you rather one or the other? It doesn't really matter to me. Twitter probably. Facebook.
Give up.
I'm not on either.
Twitter. Aye, Merv.
Aye, same again. Give up Twitter. I'm not really a massive user. I need to do it for the band, obviously. We use it for a lot of that. I still have my own personal Facebook. I think I've got a Twitter, but I don't think I've ever used it. But I think I like to think I'd be able to give it up if I didn't have the band, but I need it for the band. But I feel like after watching that documentary there is a bit of the addiction thing where you're trying to post the band stuff and you're checking to see, right, do they get likes, do they get comments, but that might just be a more a sort of just trying to get good posts to try and get
the
business.
Dopamine hits, mate. It's the dopamine hits.
I'm a Facebook crackhead.
Swanee?
Oh, Twitter for me. I get that to fuck man cesspit of humanity.
I was thinking about that, but isn't Facebook a bit of a cesspit as well?
Aye, so they're all the same now, mate. They're all exactly the same now. So Facebook used to be a bit more light-hearted and middle of the road, and Twitter was always very confrontational, I think. But all of them, get them.
I think if I take a step back and if it wasn't a large part of the band, as you say, like most of our business actually comes from Facebook. If I wasn't in the band and had to choose between the two, I think I would probably choose Twitter. Almost in a kind of
Twitter.
It's kind of, I don't know. I think it's harder to read for folk, so it's almost, there's like an element maybe that it's slightly more intellectual, but it's not. It's full of idiots as well. But
that's what I was going to say.
It seems more intellectual slightly, I think. So I'd probably pick Twitter over Facebook just on that basis. But on the basis of what I am now and what we're doing with the band and that, I'd obviously give up Twitter first because I don't think we've had any fucking bookings off Twitter. Really.
Did you know that Twitter is the biggest outlet of porn in the world?
I heard that. Aye.
Did you know YouTube uploads 500 hours a minute?
Porn?
Aye. Porn.
500 hours
Imagine.
of upload to YouTube a minute.
Aye.
That's insane.
Aye.
500 hours a minute? Fucking hell.
Can you
That's
imagine
mad.
they servers? That's not on a pen drive.
No.
Aye.
They must be just building
is
that all the
mad.
time. Physical drives must be just.
Constant, man. Constant keep up with demand, that stuff.
That's.
Where does it go? What's going to happen to it? It's mad.
I know.
Just sit in the cloud, innit?
And Jeff Bezos makes $1,200 a minute or something like that.
What are you eating?
Laura's handing me some home hand cooked chips in a wee bowl.
Home hand cooked chips?
Aye, home
As
chips.
opposed to away feet
Hand
chips?
cut homemade chips. They're fucking
So
That was
delicious.
good, man. That was good.
Have you got a home hand?
Home hand. Aye. That sounds like home help.
You need one of them to wipe that arse of yours.
Fucking hell. Ever had a candlelit shower? I discovered this the other night after I was fucked from my shift on Sunday night. I was fucked knackered, sweaty as fuck.
God, man, you weren't a fucking pub, mate. You weren't
I
a
know,
pub,
but I
mate.
was
There's
very
people
sweaty,
out
man.
there
That's it.
fucking
Right, it's
in the
different
mines.
nowadays though, man, because table service, you're constantly
But you're able to go home for a
20,000
lovely candlelit shower.
It was great.
Oh, 12,000 steps. My heart fucking bleeds for you, mate.
20,000.
Oh, 20,000
20,000 what,
steps.
guy?
Oh.
I'm going to actually,
That's a
because I
lot
put my
for
phone
work.
away in my bag and put it on airplane mode, but I'm going to actually, on Saturday night, keep it on my pocket or something.
I don't believe you've
Steps.
done 20,000 steps. Then what?
Well, I had it on me for a good half a shift and it said 10,000.
Did you have it in your hands
That's
when you
a
were
lot, if it is.
masturbating?
In the shower?
2 million steps.
In like 30 seconds?
Gyroscopes off the fucking. It's all broken in that. No, but I highly recommend. Accidentally.
No, but I don't recommend
accidentally had a candlelit shower.
Candle.
It's not dangerous because I mean, what's the worst that can happen is it gets wet and goes out. There's a big.
And there's a trip hazard if there's no light. You might have a trip hazard.
I
if
think
you can't
Laura
see.
left a few candles on in the bathroom and that, and I'm like, I'm needing a shower. I'm like, I'm not going to turn the light on here and just leave the door open and have a candlelit shower. It's fucking great, brilliant.
Is it?
Ah,
What's
it's
great
just
about it?
fucking. It's like having a shower in like some sort of sauna thing. It's nice.
Right.
It's just a nice sensual sensation thing.
Sensual?
Not sensual as in sexual, but like senses.
Sensual. Alright,
It's
okay.
nice. It's not like
What is that?
rather than like
See,
the
so-
static shock of light when you wake up early morning and you need to get a shower and you're like it's just like the opposite because a shower can wake you up. So this kind of you get a shower, but at the
you
same
sleep.
time it kind of winds you down because low light, candle
From a
lit.
hard day in the pub.
My hard day
hard
on my
day.
feet. I'm
Do you know what I
Listening
don't
to
recommend?
pensioners.
I don't recommend listening in good headphones when somebody's eating home hand
sorry,
cooked
mate.
chips and
Aye.
smacking their lips off each other.
ASMR for anyone that
Horrible, man.
likes that.
What's that?
There's
Aye,
people that are
do
into
that on
sound.
YouTube.
They're
They
in
just
it.
listen to people.
ASMR.
Listen to
doing
people
that, man.
talk like this or eat something. And
They're worse than pedos.
some people are into it.
They're
Sound
worse
pedos?
than pedos, man. They're worse than pedos. You need to be a real fucked up bastard to do something like that.
We've not spoken about ASMR on this before.
Never
Probably,
heard
mate.
that.
It's just
Don't think-
stupid things. People, there's a woman who earns 20 grand a month or something. She just sits and hums
Yep.
on YouTube for like 4 hours.
Autonomous
Just sits and hums.
sensory meridian response ASMR.
It boils down to but perverts, doesn't it? It always boils down to perverts. Oh, I like that. I mean, it's always turns into a dirty thing.
They get a tingle down their head when they hear certain noises and stuff.
Aye, what head?
Fucking hell. Aye, Swanee. Would you rather be caught liking a dirty tweet or accidentally send a bitchy screenshot to the person you screenshotted? Probably done both.
What's the choices? Finish your chip
So,
first. Finish your chip
Finish
first.
chip first.
That's a
Why-
big chip.
Some size right in my mouth. Would you rather be caught liking a dirty tweet or accidentally send a bitchy screenshot to the person you screenshotted? Have you done that, Laura? Laura can hear me. Have you done both of
Where
them?
she's liked a dirty tweet.
Screenshotted about someone to that person. You've definitely done it to me, I think.
Done it with me.
You've had it done to you. Merv
know.
actually accidentally texted me once when he meant to text Swanee about
So I did.
about Paddy's Day when you were asking if we could let an under 18er in the pub. And you sent me a message, Merv, saying Spaggle's going to do his diet. And you're like, oh, that was meant for sorry.
I remember that. You mentioned
Let's
it.
clarify this. What under 18 would we try to sneak
Well,
into
we
a
can't
pub?
say who it was, but it was somebody that may or may have not. You know who it is.
Aye.
Of
So
course, they weren't
that would
allowed
have-
in, of course, just for the record.
But just so the people know, things like that would cause your stress levels to go through the roof. So I was saying to Swanee, I was basically saying to Swanee that Spanko will not be able to handle this because it would have been a stressful situation.
He would have had to have a candle
And
lit
then I went,
shower.
wait a minute, there's bouncers on the day. Not my problem. Not my problem. It's fine.
I forgot all about that, but you're right, aye. Because I was actually going to say for my answer, I would never take a screenshot. But you're right, I did.
It wasn't a
I've done that.
screenshot, it was just a text.
Oh, was it a text? Oh, it's similar kind of thing then. I sent the text to the wrong person. Aye.
No. What have you done?
Nah, dirty tweet for me. Dirty tweet.
Would you see me say dirty tweet? Do you mean like a...
I don't know. You asked
I don't know,
me.
I didn't write it. Well, it was Merv that writes
Dirty
it.
tweets. What,
I just I found it online.
Alright.
like a fucking a porn tweet or something like that.
I will say, well, let's just say a racist tweet to up the stakes.
Laura, can you clarify
Or
something?
a really, really negative tweet. Something that you wouldn't usually like
Why would I like it then, though?
by accident.
Oh, aye, that wouldn't bother me in the slightest. If somebody came and said to me, you like that tweet, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing following every single like that I do? Have you not get any fucking
Just
life
to
to go to?
ask a female's opinion here, I still don't fully understand it, but how do guys girlfriends catch them liking Instagram pictures? How do they?
What?
Like, you know how sometimes you go, you've just liked that bitch's fucking Instagram photo.
Oh, you're making Laura sound very overbearing here.
Instagram, if you go onto people's activity, that you
So the girlfriend would have to go and look at the guy's activity timeline to see what he's been up to.
That's not Michael Fish and how this all works.
I'm trying to find out how this
Sort
works.
of-
I follow you on Instagram.
Yes.
So, because you're one of my followers or following, I can then see what all my followers have done and liked in the past. It's a way of obviously branching out people's content. So I could see easily everything that you've liked.
Oh, so if I was following a certain,
Say if you start following another girl, it would come up on your activity, which I can view because you
and because all I see is the
You're fucked,
timeline
mate.
on Instagram. I don't go and look at the activity bit.
look at the activity just by pressing on.
So there's a bit on Instagram which I never
Never
really
knew
touch.
that. Everybody getting in and unlike everything.
Neil.
Probably the latter. I don't know why. I thought that would be a bit more controversial and a lot more fun than the first one.
I can't imagine you bitching about anybody.
Nah, I mean, I've really not got it in me. I mean, I just
you
I
can't be
don't-
bothered with that. Carry on.
I know I don't care for it. It's more the having to pretend the whole making up a lie, and even if you're feeling shit or whatever, and then you say something about someone, you don't actually mean it mostly. And even if you do, so what? I mean, you can, but I mean, the fact if someone hears it, and it's kind of like a thing where if you're going to have an argument with your wife, you do it in your house, nobody knows. But if you live with someone else and they hear it, it's as if, and then it becomes this whole mad thing, and you've already made up 5 minutes after you started an argument. But then this person always thinks you're an absolute asshole because you beat her or something. I just can't take that. Useless.
I know what you mean. You can grow arms and legs as somebody's head.
Exactly.
Aye.
Just like social
Definitely.
media.
Definitely, mate. Yep.
Some people must have sent some really, really bad screenshots and some bad situations. You could just imagine it, you know what I mean?
Aye, really bad. Aye, I'm trying to think if I've
Just-
been caught. Probably.
But the thing I was going to say about you, and obviously you've highlighted my guilty text message that I sent to Swanee at that time. I don't think you're actually one for really bitching us that much. Spanks anyway. One thing you definitely are for is
A screenshot.
you Spankle screenshots. That might as well be your name.
That's his
Spankle
surname,
screenshot. So
Spankle screenshots.
we've got a group chat for the band, as you can imagine, and we just talk about all the stuff. There are a lot of stuff needs to be decided and things need to get done. You know, it's all go quite a lot. Not so much now, but generally speaking, it is now. But basically, Spanko is a classic Spanko activity. Would be you're having this heated argument about something, and then you'll say, I never said that, and then Spanko produce a screenshot from like 4 years ago that will say
I don't have an archive of them. Fucking carefully curated screenshots.
You said it, yeah. You know what I mean?
For me, probably get caught liking a dirty tweet or something. I think you could probably talk yourself out of that more than a bitchy screenshot, you're proper red-handed, you know what I mean? But a dirty tweet, you go, my finger slipped. You know what I mean?
Actually.
Number 3, would you rather be tagged in an unflattering picture or accidentally like someone's photo from a year ago? That goes to Mel first.
Probably rather be tagged in an unflattering picture, because probably that happens all the time, because we're always putting photos up and most of them are unflattering, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite comfortable with that, so I wouldn't like to just accidentally like somebody's photo from a year ago, unless it was a great photo. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't, but that's one of these faux pas that comes along with social media. I think we spoke about it before. There's definitely and it's probably back to what we mentioned earlier, like older people's understanding on a basic level of how it works is different to like younger people, and so these faux pas can happen where, if that's the right word, I don't know if I'm just saying that, but you know, if somebody's saying happy birthday to somebody, instead of like tagging the person, we'll just write like happy birthday Jim Smith just to write in the middle a big sign, happy birthday Jim Smith, and Jim Smith's supposed to like know that. So, see, I don't know where it was going with that.
Mind you, you'd mentioned like we should probably get a woman on the podcast at some point. This would have been the perfect episode, man. Because I suspect that women experience a completely different social media to guys.
Yep, definitely. But there must be a lot of pressure on women. That's just my assumption by looking at photos, because it's a whole in
the 90s and that it was magazines that were bad and all that, promoting fucking skinny bitches and all that, and
but it's
like the lassie next door kind of thing for girls, I imagine.
But think of the it's a full-time job for a lot of girls, probably posting a photo of themselves each day or periodically, you know. It seems like there's a lot of pressure to post photos and get likes. I don't know. It's difficult, obviously. I would know about it, but just looking from the outside, it looks as if it could be quite a pressurised situation. And if you don't get the right likes or whatever, it could be.
That sounds shite. That sounds terrible. That to hear about that, but again, Generation fucking Z, or is it? No, aye, they've been brought up in that whole situation. But I mean, again, another part was they were talking about suicides and stuff have shot up.
Just
like
fuck
in the past, 10 years, and I mean, that's fucking horrendous, and it's all to blame with this whole pressure, definitely, and girls as well, yeah.
See some funny faux pas I quite like when somebody like posts somebody's died, but they put it on like the LOL background.
Oh man, I'll read some of those. That's one of my favourite pastimes of BuzzFeed.
Sadly, my husband passed away today, and it's like full of laugh out loud faces in the background and that. You're like, oh, what are you thinking about? How can you do that? You need to actually go into them to select one of them.
I know.
I know.
Is it just like a finger slip, like Spanks is saying? It involves like proper.
You need to go into it.
Okay. Here we go. This is 21 old people who shouldn't have posted on Facebook, but they did, and for that I'm grateful, because they fucking can't work it properly. So somebody's put as a post with the like it's a picture post with text, so it's like love hearts and that purple love hearts, and it says I think it's meant to be a save the date card that they've got. So somebody's put, "We got your STD. Thanks for sharing."
Brilliant.
There's another one where it's again the picture background, but it's like balloons, which would be for a celebration. Somebody's put, I have been accused of being a racist at work.
I was just going to say that the best ones are just the impact of a serious statement with laughing faces. They're just as some like it's just like
somebody's put the poo emoji, and it's again a picture background, but it's loads of the poo emojis floating about with a daft face. It says, does it mention chocolate in the Bible? So they obviously think it's chocolate. Some people think that's like chocolate milk.
It does look a bit like chocolate. Shite looks a bit like chocolate. There's a fact.
Fucking hell, breaking news. Breaking news, man. Melted chocolate looks like shite. I will miss one thing for Facebook, rate my plate.
That's gone downhill as fuck though.
Aye, I know, but I've had hours of fun with that.
That's funny, man.
Some of the stuff is hilarious. Some of the comments are hilarious. That is for the comments. Some
stuff is good comments. Aye, the comments make it. That is one of them.
Here's another one. Another picture status background is this time it's like love hearts on strings, so it must be like love heart balloons. Somebody's written, hospital food tastes like shit.
It's fucking great with the mad background stuff. I think it's better when it's a dead serious post with somebody dying or something.
Yeah, but it's got the crying emojis, the laughing crying emojis. Do they think it's crying emojis? Did you answer this one? Would you rather be tagged in an unflattering photo or accidentally like someone's photo from a year ago?
Neither of them really bother me, to be honest. Any, to be fair, doesn't bother me. See if somebody was like that, what you doing like my photo for a year ago? Again, I'd be like, you can go and take your face for a fuck. What you on about? Why are you even interested in that? I've clearly just arse-dialed you on Facebook. Deal with yourself.
What if somebody tagged you in a picture for like 2006 where you're full of bucky and whatever, and it's...
That happens all the time. I love the photos.
Do you?
Aye.
Fun memories.
Mate,
what was particularly unflattering picture?
Aye, I've hundreds of them. I've got one that gets tagged annually, the 1998 when I shaved a one into the back of my head. So doesn't bother me, mate.
And Neil?
I think they like one because if someone was to say, why did you like my picture, I would be exactly the same as Swanee. I was like, well, if you don't want me to like your picture, then fuck right off. I mean, I don't understand what the problem is me liking your picture, even if it is a year ago. I don't get it.
I know. See, sometimes as well, like I see myself on Facebook and the way the feed works, sometimes like old posts are on your timeline. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So you see them for... How many times have you went, why is that fucker like my...
The time hop fucking hang. Aye, that pops up.
A year ago
jazz, aye. So, doesn't bother me any of that. Or the unflattering photos. It's not as if any are fucking oil paintings anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, yes, doesn't bother me.
Alright, let's move on, lads, to the final section. Everyone's favourite section.
Banger. Oh, shit. I can't do this week. I'm watching a game, lads.
It's alright, it's been quite funny. I was thinking that you're reacting to what we're saying when you're actually reacting to the game.
But I can't host Banger.
Oh, you can't host it?
I'm fucking watching.
Who wants to host Banger or Saint? Neil, you host something.
You host.
I'll do it.
Are you want to host it, Neil?
I'll do it. Right, cool. Alright, Merv. So, Banger or Saint?
Mm-hmm.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg, I'll go Banger. Don't really have that much against the guy. I know he's a very wealthy
that's enough for me.
middle class American. I don't know, I think there's dubious how much he's responsible for Facebook. I think all the things we've said, bad things, I don't think he's responsible. I think it's doesn't matter who done it. Somebody would have done it. Somebody would have made a different social media, and the same things would exist now. So, but just still say Banger anyway. Banger.
For any reason?
No, not for the reason I said, because he's I don't think he's made it himself for that. I think he's had a lot of help. I don't think he's I think he's basically a rich guy that's just became richer. So I could be wrong about that, and based on that knowledge that might be wrong, I'll say Banger.
Okay. Spango.
I think Mark Zuckerberg, especially again in that, we're going to be referencing the social dilemma a lot, because it's just watched it. But he seems nervous as fuck when he's getting interviewed. Is that? Do you think he's just kind of got that
He's a geek,
nervous?
mate. He's a dork.
Nervous
He's a dork.
disposition
The
kind of
dork
thing,
than
like.
there.
Well, that's because well, no, that's not quite. Well, yes, we want to do. He's got that kind of vibe about him, like he looks fucking terrified. But then his character in the film, The Social Network, which is obviously a really good film, is a bit more kind of confident and cocky, and is a wee dick. Is a completely different persona. So I don't know. I guess banger. Yeah, Facebook's got a lot to fucking answer for.
Saint for me. Saint for me.
Sake.
I'm glad the fucking geeks rule the world now. If we've been bullied in that, now they can fucking rule the world, and all the jocks will all be raging. So I like that flick of the
that's
switch.
fair enough. Yeah.
There you go. Saint.
That's a good point.
Oh, nice.
Neil?
Well, I think he is like maybe the face of the whole cog, I guess. I don't know, give it to the youngster and then, no one's going to think anything of it. I mean, I like the fact that he is a geek, and I like the fact that there's someone in his position that's, I don't know, wealthier than most people, and he's still quite introvert. It might mean he's a sneaky fuck, but I'll say banger.
Fair play to him.
I'll say banger, only because I'm pretty jealous of the fact that how quick it was. 23 or something I was reading he became a millionaire.
23.
Jesus.
So I mean, what you do, but in fact he's no deed now. Maybe says a bit more for his character than if I was 23 and got £1 million.
Exactly.
He's probably
Game's a bogey.
He's probably stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Guys like that, it's like
you started something and it's kind of got away from you type thing.
I'm thinking his net worth. Right, nobody Google it. What's his net worth? How much do you think he's worth?
Yeah.
7 billion.
Trillions.
7 billion, Merv?
He's probably about into the, I would say he's maybe into 10 billion.
You think 10 billion, Swanee?
Aye.
This is in US dollars, right? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Neil, how much do you reckon he's worth?
I don't know. $1 trillion.
Alright, fuck's sake. He's worth 97.8 billion US dollars. Nearly
It's just
100
him?
billion. Just him, that's his net worth.
So is 100 billion a trillion, or is that a...
No, I think 1,000 billion.
And he's got
so I wasn't close in.
He's got a smaller tax bill than us.
Probably, aye. Jeff Bezos is 185 billion, so he's like double that. He's the richest man in the world, the Amazon guy. But that's a lot.
He's a creepy looking fucker, isn't he? That Jeff Bezos guy.
Aye, he looks like the devil.
He looks as if he likes a strangle wank. One of the guys.
Alright, so the next one is Wagner and not Richard Wagner. What's his first name again?
I think that's his
first
name. Wagner.
Wagner.
He's born Wagner Fayutza.
We'll call him Wagner X Factor.
Aye.
Can we explain who he is in case folk don't know who he is? He's the guy you've probably seen that was on X Factor that had the moustache and long blonde hair. He kind of looks like an older guy that's a
Mexican wrestler.
He's like a mad Mexican guy or something.
He's a fucking buyer, isn't he? I mean, how can you give him anything else? He sings happy birthday to Dundee United fans for 15 quid on a Friday night. The guy's a fucking buyer.
But he must be making a couple of quid. Was that like 50 quid or something?
He's making more than me than
that's right.
but
50 quid to say a message on a fucking video. That sounds great.
Aye. I think we should do one. I think we should get one.
A Wagner?
A Wagner video.
Listen to the Carbon Copy Podcast. This is great. Hello, it's Wagner here. Listen to the Carbon Copy Podcast where they talk about me, Wagner.
hate to point that out, but that's really racist.
How is it? I'm not.
Well, the new hatred bill.
Oh, you can't
do. Hatred bill that's through. You can't perform or anything.
You can't perform an accent anymore.
And you can't say anything that might incite any hatred. So folk are going to be getting lifted at the comedy clubs.
Fuck's sake! So you can't even do an accent anymore.
I'm going to tweet that shit and get you done, man.
Nah, you're getting stuck in.
Hey, this is Wagner saying Spago's going to jail.
Maybe we should try and invite Wagner onto the
The podcast.
But see if we can frame it.
50 quid,
But see if we can frame it as if this is like this is the biggest podcast in Scotland. Obviously it is anyway, but try and sell it. Try and sell it to them. Maybe we should try and get like a really well-known guest.
Nice. We should definitely.
Mark Zuckerberg.
You could ask Neil Lennon.
Well,
Spanks.
You Spanks' best friend,
right?
Well,
maybe his age.
could
My cousin, he might do it. You know what I mean?
Aye.
We could be
That'd be good.
Open Goal, and you Open Goal. You can be Slaney.
Jim Spence.
Open goal.
We could try Jim Spence, Grant Stott,
Graham Norton.
Aye.
For me, Wagner's a saint. Like that's. I mean, what he's basically.
You put the chips down.
Yeah, I've put the chips down. He's doing like, see if you're, I mean, one of the best jobs in the world must be like being a Twitch person and getting paid to fucking sit and play computer games and talk to the camera. It must be great. But he's doing something similar. He's like, literally, he's like, give me 50 quid. Or maybe it's 100 quid. I don't know. How much did Chris McNamara not do one?
Oh, I think so.
So it must have been 50 quid just to do a 2-minute message.
It's not even that. It's like 30 seconds.
Aye, fucking, that's amazing.
It's decent, aye.
I don't know anybody else is doing
that.
that.
How long is that going to last for?
Oh, you don't see much of them anymore, do you?
Exactly. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how we've got a chance to invite him onto the podcast. It might just be like, aye, fuck it.
I'm Merv.
Aye, banger. I don't know much about him, but for the reasons that get mentioned previous, I'll go banger. Although I agree with Spanks, he's done well to make a career.
He's a not bad singer, by the way.
Is he alright?
He's alright, aye. Stick a bit of him on.
Is Wagner singing 2010 X Factor?
Talk to me, tell me your name. You walk like it's all the same. You lead us to the north, taking away like a bomb.
Like a bomb. You sound exactly like him. That accent was brilliant, Spanks.
That was good.
Like a Gemini.
He sounds like a vampire.
Yeah.
He does, aye, he's a vampire.
This sounds like a guy off Sesame Street. 1 2
50 quid, one message,
She walks like she talks, so she talks like she walks.
That's still a vampire, man, I never even thought of that.
She move.
I go crazy.
It does sound exactly like what we do in the shadows.
That's plenty, Spanks.
Yeah, it's plenty.
It has to be a saint.
He's a saint.
I'm going to change
He's
mine.
a saint.
Change me.
He's a saint.
He changed it.
Merv changed his ringtone. It's nervy stuff. It's nervy stuff going into the last quarter of the soccer ball, Spanko.
Man, we should do our own football podcast.
Aye, you'll be amazing on that. Explain the offside rail, Spanko.
It's when I go to pass the two defenders, but the ball's played down.
What's she saying? What's she saying? What's that wee lassie saying on that stage? Many times has somebody said that when you've been on the mic. What's she saying?
As long as the player's not interfering with play, then he's okay and it's not offside, so it's fine. So
yes, well played.
See the problem with explaining the offside rule is that it's hard to explain. It's easy to understand, but it is hard to explain.
Aye, with the wee intricate bits of it. Definitely.
But you explained it well there, Spanks.
Yeah.
One.
Well,
Nice one.
well, boys, that was good. That was dark. Swanee's been half in because he's been listening to the game.
I tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to the
Thank
podcast
you.
again.
Thanks very much.
I realise
Thanks for
we've been
listening
off
to
for
the
a couple of
podcast.
weeks and that, but we've been sorting shit out. So
Getting jobs.
we should be back in a couple of weeks' time. We're just going to do this every 2 weeks now, I think. Is that right, lads?
Did you know that every 2 weeks is bi-weekly? But did you know that bi-weekly also means twice a week?
I did not know that.
What?
There you go. It means
go.
twice a week and it means every 2 weeks.
Oh, so
it's
we're doing it bi-weekly.
Aye, but every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. That's what we're going to do.
Fortnightly.
So thanks
every
very much for
14
listening.
days.
Thanks very much for listening, folks. And we'll see you in another 14 days or so.
Cheers.
Bye. Thanks very much for listening to the Carbon Copy COVID Curer podcast. We'll be back soon with another ill-informed, chat-filled episode. Why not tell us what you think by email, inquiry@carboncopymusic.band, or visit our website, carboncopymusic.band. And if you're feeling really generous and you haven't already, please give us a like on our Facebook, facebook.com/carboncopy4, and even our Instagram, @carboncopyweddingband. Thanks again. No bangers or ham during the making of this podcast. Carbon Copy reserve the right more than anything they like, and they will. Thank you.